Pax Dei is a medieval sandbox MMO that is currently in development, and recently they released their second alpha of the game. So I thought it looked very interesting from what I saw in the first alpha, the building portion of the game in particular, so I thought I'd get in there and check it out. The alpha started on Tuesday the 23rd of April and ended on the 30th. So what you're about to see is everything I got up to in that week. Okay, finally got in. Ooh. I think that'll do. Alright. How about the Innis Gallagher Dracastis? Yeah, let's go. So, starting out, I ran around for a bit, collecting anything I could find on the floor. This included sapwood and rocks, which I was able to craft into my first axe. Too hard. And then, after gathering some wood, I set off to find a good location for my base. Is there a map? Yes. I think these are people. I'm gonna make my way over here to the lake. So I'm gonna go this way. Doing some exploring, I came across my first bit of clay and an angry horde of boars. Oh dear, oh dear. Yep, not friendly. Not friendly. Might be a pretty good location. Okay, so how do we get a plot? We pull this out, right? I have 2 unclaimed plots. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to get the trees in. So how about there? Now we can get another one, can't we? Okay. Yeah, that's a good area. Okay, so construction. A stone foundation. That requires more Genesis rocks. Okay, so these guys are really annoying. Okay, looks like our inventory is almost full. Yeah. So I think we should make like some sort of storage shed first. Okay, let's just build everything. I think over here to begin with. A wood chopping block. And a basic charcoal kiln. I don't know what any of this stuff does, but I can craft it, so I'm going to. Wooden pegs. I'm assuming this is how I can craft, like, wooden structures. I failed. Now, where should we build the house? Yeah, like, right here. So after getting the stone foundation down, I put some fences around the front, made a couple new crafting stations, which I was going to need later on, and then crafted up some rough wooden beams, which along with a bunch of reeds that I found along the riverside, I was going to need for the wooden parts of the shack I was making. So I got down all the walls, put the roof on top, but I noticed it was a bit uneven. I built the foundation a bit wrong. So I added some poles at the front, which I think did make it look a bit better, and also gave this like canopy area for the porch. And then of course put some chests inside. So after all that was done, I went and crafted a stone pickaxe in hopes of obtaining iron, but unfortunately there weren't any rocks around me which I could break. So what I did is I set down a smelter and then went off to do a bit of exploring. And eventually I found a couple of impure iron deposits. So I collected a bunch of that and then went back home to put it in the smelter. But that was going to take 1 whole hour of real time to turn into ingots. So while that was cooking, I wanted to try out some leather working. So I put down a couple new crafting stations and then went out to kill some deer, which gave me some large pelts. I was then able to turn into rawhide in the tanning rack, which did take another 20 minutes for that to craft, but when it was, I was able to turn that into my first piece of armour. And soon after that, the iron had finished smelting, so I went through the stone anvil I had, crafting some new things. Whoa. Iron crossbar, iron sword blade. Okay, so I can make swords. What do I need for that? Probably blacksmith tools. Where are the swords? We need another table. Oh dear. Yeah, we just need one more iron bar. How much longer? 50 minutes. Alright, let's just kill some animals. Oh, I do nothing. Oh no. So, midway through hunting, I decided that I was going to do a bit more exploring. So I travelled up to this canyon, which going through it took me into the Inescadaga wildlands, which would open up a load of new stuff. Oh my, hello. That was not there before. It's a table. Ah, I see. Oh, that's why there's no campfires. You can build in these places here. But not all of this. These are the wildlands. And iron should be done. Almost. There we go. Hey, I want a sword. No, I don't want a broadsword. I want a big sword. I am angry. How do I make this? Basic forge. I think we might need that. Okay, basic forge. That's a big one. Here works. Ooh, hold on. Heavy iron. That's it. I think if I unlock this, I'll be able to unlock greatswords. There we go. Rugged longsword. Perfect. Where do I make that? Here it is. Oh, it's impossible. Okay, I need to level up my blacksmithing, I believe. Or actually, no. Yet weaponsmithing. So I need to create things in here. But of course for that, I needed some more iron. So I went out, collected some more, smelt all of that into ingots, and then craft a load of weapons. Although in between all of that, I got a bit bored. The process was very tedious, so I began working on some other things instead. So first of all, I decided to move my little workshop I had over to the right of my storehouse, and start crafting my first piece of chainmail armour. But moving on from that, the reason I moved my workshop over was because I wanted to clear out an area for a proper house. So I collected a bunch more materials and then got to work. So after I was finished building my house, I got back to work with the iron, just going back and forth with the blacksmithing and weaponsmithing, to a point where I had a bunch of materials and was a high enough level to craft the rugged longsword. Which the longsword did take me a couple of tries to get, but eventually I was able to craft it, and it did look pretty cool when I was swinging it around. So although not the best weapon in terms of damage, it was pretty low level, but I was happy with it. So with my new weapon in hand, I wanted to go out and explore some more of the world. But before I left, I made myself a couple more pieces of leather armor, just to give that bit of extra defense against any hostile enemies. So once I was all kitted out, I had a look at the map to see any biomes I hadn't been to, and then set out on what would be a very long expedition. And this trip was pretty successful. I found a bunch of new things, including these granite rocks, which I didn't actually end up using. I would assume maybe they're for some higher level stone structures, but I'm not entirely sure. As well as that, further on I went into the wildlands. I found some new enemies. Now most of these were just variants of others I'd already found, like bears and bulls, but there were some new ones, like wisps and a couple of ghosts as well. And eventually I came across this sort of misty plains biome where I was able to find some pretty cool stuff, including 2 new ores. One of them was copper, which I didn't have much use for. You can combine it with tin to create bronze. But the most important one I found was an iron deposit, which smelting this down gives me wrought iron ingots. So after collecting all I could find of that, I did a bit more exploring and then went back home to do some experimenting with that new iron that I got. So I just did the same thing I did when I was working with the old iron, just crafting a bunch of materials to get my blacksmithing level up, which gave me the opportunity to upgrade all of my basic workstations, at least in the blacksmithing area, which did open up a bunch of new items I could craft, although these were all very high level. I think some of them were reaching like level 30 or something. And the week I had to play the alpha was coming to an end, and the last major thing I did was craft these reinforced chests, which would have been helpful earlier, but oh well. So with that, the Wilderness Alpha for Pax Dei had concluded, and overall I thought it was pretty fun, at least what I was able to do, although it is pretty clear that the game is intended for group play, which I didn't. I played completely solo. But even then, I think I did see quite a bit of the game. There were some things I missed out on. A couple of the workstations, like brewing, alchemy, that sort of thing. I just didn't get a chance to test out any of those. Obviously my gear wasn't good, so I wasn't able to do like dungeons and things. And then of course PvP as well, which I'm not too upset about. I am not very good at PvP in any game. But what I did see, what I did get my hands on, I did enjoy. The crafting and the building, collecting all the resources, very slow, but I did think it was pretty fun. And I do definitely want to see more of this game, what it has to offer in the future, how it's going to change and stuff. But anyway, that was a week in Pax Dei, so I do hope you enjoyed the video. I will be back to my Minecraft beta series soon, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.